everybody, it's Dean. Welcome to Bring Back Rock. Today we're talking about why no hard rock bands broke out of New York in the 80s. There were a couple, we'll talk about them, but really they released a lot of great albums out of New York and none of them really broke through nationally. So, a couple ground rules. First of all, no New Jersey. If you ask people from New York if they're the same as Jersey, and they will tell you hell no. So, same thing if you ask people from Jersey about New York. I'm sure there was crossover in the scene a little bit, but no bands from New Jersey, so no Skid Row, no Bon Jovi, no Trickster. All right, next there were, like I said, a couple bands that broke through. We'll talk about them in a second. Next thing with ground rule is they had to have a major label release back in the day. I know there's some great independent record labels that are kind of catering to us 80s rock fans, and there's some great bands from New York that have released stuff on there. Rocks is a very popular one. So had to have a major label release back in the day. And that's about it. Those are the two major things. Most of these bands have more in common with the later LA scene, like LA Guns, Faster Pussycat, Guns N' Roses, than they do with Poison and Warrant LA scenes. So got that too. All right, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the two bands that really did break big. Anthrax is one of them, but they're more of a thrash than what we're talking about here. So yeah, Twisted Sister, who was one of the early bands that broke through and really helped establish the scene. They had their breakthrough hit, We're Not Gonna Take It, which crossed over to pop radio with a few other bands that were doing the same thing. Quiet Riot with Come On Feel the Noise, Rats, Round and Round. You could probably throw Scorpions, Rocky Like a Hurricane, and Def Leppard in there too. But they really helped establish the scene, and they released two videos that were just iconic with the 80s, with We're Not Gonna Take It and I Wanna Rock. But they really were a metal band. Go back and listen to Under the Blade, or even the songs on their breakthrough, Stay Hungry, SMF, Horror Tierra, which was Captain Howdy, and Street Justice. There's a lot of metal on that record. So Burn in Hell was another one. So they really had a breakthrough metal album. They did have the hair and makeup, but they were more demonic transvestite meets drunken clown makeup than the Poison or Warrant makeup. So next band was White Lion. White Lion kind of had more of an international feel, mostly because Mike Tramp was their singer, and they had a Danish singer, Mike Tramp. That leads us to the first band I'm going to talk about on our list of 8, and that is Princess Pang. Now, Princess Pang also had that international feel for a good reason. Jen Foster, the singer, met Ronnie Rose, a bass player from Sweden. His visa was expiring, so they kind of headed to Sweden to form a band. Didn't really find the players they wanted. They added a guitarist, and then they all came back to New York, found another guitarist and drummer, and Princess Pang was formed. They did release one major label album, which had 2 videos you might have seen on MTV, Trouble in Paradise and Find My Heart a Home. So they had 2 videos on MTV, they had their major label album, they had a shot, but for some reason Princess Pang never really broke through. All right, next on the list is Raging Slab. Raging Slab found a few fans. The critics really liked their major label debut. They kind of melded heavy metal, punk, and southern rock together to get kind of an unusual sound all their own. They cut their teeth in the clubs a lot with White Zombie, but they never really broke through. And then they had some major label problems, which I'm not really going to get into here, but Raging Slab's major label debut did have a shot and just couldn't pull through. All right, let's see what's next. Next, we have a band I really liked a lot, Circus Power. They kind of had the exact same image as Little Caesar, just a dirty, stripped-down rock and roll biker band. Alex Mitchell, the singer, was the first person I saw with a full sleeve of tattoos outside of Motley Crue. I saw their video, Motor, of course, on Headbangers Ball. I didn't buy their album right away, though. I actually bought the first thing I had by them was their EP, Still Alive and Well, and the songs were great on there. So then I went back, bought the debut, and have been a fan ever since. Circus Power was kind of tapped to be one of the next big bands, but they just didn't break through for whatever reason. So Circus Power deserved their success, but they really didn't break through. Another band similar to that is Spread Eagle. Spread Eagle, like Circus Power came out I think in 1988. Spread Eagle I don't think came out till 1990. They were just a sleazy, dirty rock and roll band out of New York. They're kind of the East Coast version of Guns N' Roses. but they found their fans. They have a pretty good cult following, a lot of fans that I talked to here on this channel, but just couldn't break into the mainstream. So another great band. They released a second major label album before kind of disbanding, and some of the members got together and recently released a couple of years ago another album on Frontiers Records. So Spread Eagle kind of still out there doing it, but once again, another good sleazy hard rock band that just couldn't break through. All right, talking about sleazy rock and roll bands, one of my all-time favorite albums is by Smash Gladys, their major label debut, Social Intercourse. It's a great record. If you like Faster Pussycat's debut, you'll probably like the Smash Gladys album. It's a female singer, but she rocks. She's sleazy. It's great. Great songs on there too. They kind of got screwed over by the label by the fact that their album came out in 1987 and they never had a video. If you came out in 1987 and didn't have a video to put on MTV, you're pretty much DOA. So Smash Gladys put out that great record. They had help from a couple of heavyweights in the music business too. So if you want to go check out my Smash Gladys video, you'll be able to hear about that. Another one was Electric Angels. Electric Angels came out of the ashes of the band Candy, which is released one of my favorite albums. A lot more pop than I normally listen to, but really, really good. Great lyrics. So they came out. They lost their singer after the debut album. Gilby Clarke left and formed Kill for Thrills, and the rest of the guys went on, moved to New York, and formed Electric Angels. They did have a couple hits, one in New York, a big hit. The Drinking Song was played in New York radio quite a bit. Found a big fan in John Bon Jovi, who used one of their lines in one of his big hits, kind of a tribute to them. Electric Angels put out just the one album. Now they've released another one with demos and stuff like that. What was going to be their second record, so you can check that out too. Great rock and roll, great lyrics from Electric Angels and from Candy. And they also went on to form the Loveless, which again had some great lyrics. All right, next up we have who? Let's see, looks like we have Tyketto. Tyketto, probably one of the most successful New York bands. They had Forever Young as kind of a pretty big hit. They had a couple videos out there. Forever Young found radio play, and it found video play. They kind of found their fans. Tyketto was probably, like I said, the most successful out of these bands. If you want to learn more about Tyketto, I do have a Tyketto video you can check out. Danny Vaughan is still out there. He's still flying the Tyketto banner and still releasing records. They just came to the dance a little bit too late, so they didn't really have enough time to capitalize on their momentum before the whole thing came crashing down. All right, last we have Trouble Tribe, another album I loved. This album, once again, came out in 1990, probably a little bit late, but they did have two videos on MTV. They had Here Comes Trouble and Tattoo, two great songs. The whole album really is pretty damn good. I would check out Trouble Tribe if you're not familiar with them. I'd like to do a video on them, but just haven't. I've reached out and nobody's reached back to me, and also there's just not a lot out there. I found two articles in magazines that were kind of puff pieces, but didn't really give me much info on them. So Trouble Tribe is definitely worth checking out. They had, like I said, two videos. They came out in 1990 on Chrysalis Records, but for whatever reason just did not break out huge nationally. If anybody knows why these bands didn't break out, some had reasons, some are just a complete mystery. They had label support and everything. If there's some major label release that I missed that you thought should have been on this list, let me know. But there are 8 examples of great rock and roll music coming out of New York with nobody breaking through. It's kind of a mystery. All right, that's it. That was just what was on my mind, so I thought I'd talk about it. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll catch up with you on the next episode.